This episode of Super Legit brought to you by the Glassdoor Emporium, Vaughn's Brand Whiskey, and the new TurboGrafx CD, so you can enjoy bigger games than ever and experience the latest CD plus G graphical experiences. And with the TurboTap adapter, you can play with up to 4 other gamers. TurboGrafx 16, the higher energy video game system. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Super Legit podcast. We've done a whole bunch of them already. We're going to do a whole bunch more, and we have a full boat tonight, which is just it's so much fun for me to see. Those of you listening can't see anything other than
we're going to need wait, go back.
Yeah.
Say can you
Yes.
Can you say that again?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's retake this and get the line right this time. Okay. Oh, man, we have a full boat tonight, guys.
There's a shark!
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, that was perfect. Good take.
I got it.
Sanders, yeah.
The beaches will remain open.
Heiman with the classic.
Oh, I am so happy to see all of your faces in front of me. And, you know, the little bit of inside baseball for our listeners. But when we record this tomorrow, we get to see everybody's faces in person for a team barbecue, which I am incredibly excited about. I love these people.
So by the time you hear this, we will have had that barbecue and maybe have gotten into a huge explosive fight and broken up.
Because it is the first... Is it everybody's first? Who's for tomorrow? Who's is it? Their Jesus Christ! I can't.
Who has
this is such a good start to a podcast.
English,
Yes.
Sanders.
Who has socialized in the last year and a half?
The beaches shall remain open.
I love how Michael Heiman is lecturing Sanders on good diction.
What are you talking about?
I haven't socialized.
What a stupid thing to say, Jett.
I have not socialized yet.
I've been to a couple very, very small things, nothing at this level, so this is pretty exciting.
I've only gone to a couple of Trump rallies, but
Yeah.
but they were larger.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of friends, acquaintances, and friends of friends over in my backyard. No, I'm just fucking with you guys. You would have been invited. I'm sorry.
Everyone is staring at you aghast.
Yeah, I just ran a kissing booth for a little while last summer.
Oh, yeah, those are lucrative. Yeah, it was a dime or a quarter booth.
Oh, we didn't charge.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah,
those are the quality booths.
It was free with a positive test result.
Right? Yeah.
Positivity is
Now
key.
we'll kiss the coughs away.
Oh my god.
All right, so I've got a question this week that since we were missing Sean Michael Boozer last week, I'm going to put him on the spot this time.
Whoa! Did you miss me, or was I just not there? I feel like it was the latter. Let's be honest.
I missed you. Do you want us to take a poll around the group of who missed you versus who just noticed you weren't there?
No,
We've set up a survey monkey.
That would hurt. Let's just move on.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to go with missed you.
Withdrawn.
All right. So what's the first thing? And when I say thing, I mean concept, object, idea, philosophy, whatever that you fell in love with and it felt like it just took over your life. It could have been like a TV show. It could have been, improv, of course, is one of those things for a lot of people. Just something like that. Maybe something very specific or something generalized that once you found it and, maybe teenager or young adult, whatever, it just became an obsession for you. It can be dumb. It can be impactful, whatever.
Well, I think it's going to be impactfully dumb. It's something that I should have realized. This is an acting teacher. This is well after college. This was when I was a professional actor. Quotes, professional actor. I was in SAG, let's say that. My acting teacher one day took me aside. He's like, Sean Michael, you have a bit of a rebel in you. You're a comedian, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what I started out as. And he goes, yeah. Just cut me off. Yeah. Because of your rebelliousness, sometimes you do stuff that hurts yourself. He goes, you don't have to rebel against everything. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But then after I internalized it, I looked at it and I do stuff. I go out of my way to make things harder for myself, just by like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go around that and make up some series of events that are going to be 10 times more difficult for me to do than doing what you asked me to do.
Right.
I'll show you by fucking my life up. And I have since then, like, that is my first impulse, is like to like go, nah, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I've learned to meter that with, well, I know you don't want to, but would that be easier than going around the long way? And I feel like I've gotten better. And this happened much later in my life than I would have liked for it to happen. But I still find myself doing stuff that causes me undue pressure that I would do. Just do it the way you've been asked. Don't fight the power on everything.
I think that's a personality trait that's very personal to me, and I bet it pops up for other people too. That thing of, oh, that's too easy. I have to do it the harder way. For some reason that, like, I don't know where it comes from. I can think of just going back to how many times it seemed too simple to take notes. Like you're in a meeting or you have some task ahead of you. It's like, no, I can just remember this, because if I took notes, that would somehow be cheating and doing it the easy way. And that would be wronging myself somehow, when I can just put this real effort upon myself to remember these details that in 5 seconds I absolutely won't remember. But at least then I can tell myself what a piece of shit I was.
I appreciate your effort to make me sound better, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm not doing it the way I've been told to do something, like, or the way it's been requested. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it this way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Just like the it's a weird dynamic. I wish I was just.
Here's my question, Shawn Michael.
Yes.
Were you just rebelling against Jett trying to tell you that you are doing a good job at this and not taking it? Couldn't you have just taken the easy way and said, yeah, Jett, I agree with what you just said?
A little yes and there.
Which is funny, because he just talked about how good I yes and, except in my personal life.
I rescind that. Yeah. I know. I take that back now. So
For me, I think, like, I have similar things I do, but it's always been more about control. It's like, I'm not going to do your thing. I'm going to do it my way, because fuck you. I'm not going to listen to you.
Me.
You can't control me, Dad. You know? So I think that it's always control for me. And once I learned that, it was easier to be like, okay, yeah, okay, that's my fucking issue. I gotta just do it.
That's like your first impulse too is like, no, fuck that.
Not to everything. It sounds like that's your first impulse. I have two very different sides. I have a side of like super pleasing, like I want to do, sure, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but I'm not going to fucking do it your way. Like, does that make sense? Like, I feel like I still fight it.
Action.
Yeah.
No, fuck that is also the first impulse of most teenage boys.
Yes.
This is true. Yeah. You know, it's not with everything. Like, I don't sit there at Green Lines and go, no, I'm going to wait till I'm ready. Like,
See, this I would get behind.
Oh, poop in a toilet.
Like, consistent rebel is a character I want to see.
I'm not gonna follow society's rules. I'm wearing these pants for a reason.
Right.
I like that.
I'm wearing these shoes on my hands.
Super.
Sarah, could you walk over here, please? We have a long-standing policy here at the restaurant that we write down the customer's orders. It's just a simple thing. We write it down, that way things don't get mixed up.
Well,
no,
I get that. I get that. I understand that's the way you do things. I just feel it's almost condescendingly easy to just remember the order and just shout it back to the chef when I get back there.
Okay, the thing is, every order you've taken tonight has gone out incorrectly. You sent baby back ribs to that table of Orthodox rabbis. They found it insulting. They found it disappointing, and they wish that you had just simply wrote down their order. That was all there was to it.
I understand wishes, and maybe I wish that they would broaden their horizons. You know, they're cutting themselves off from new experiences because what? Some book told them to? Crazy. Again, the written word is the problem.
We're trying to get Applebee's kosher menu off the ground, okay? and we've got to attract a new and different clientele. And you just simply adhering to the rules of your training would be great, right? You sent 3 margaritas to that table over there, a table of middle school girls.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not old enough to drink. Actually, if just me and my friends, we can get the Diet Cokes we asked. That'd be great.
Kelly, what are you doing? This is our shot. Why
Don't
would
be
you send this
stupid.
back?
Don't be stupid. I want to get
What's wrong
crunk.
with you? Yes.
Come on.
See, I think I'm with her. You guys, the interplay of the salty rim with the sweet and sour, and you guys, I think it's so much more exciting than Diet Coke. You really should broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
This is what we call in the business a happy accident. That's what we say here at Applebee's. Everything's a happy accident.
Okay, you just contributed to delinquency of 4 minors, okay? We could lose our liquor license
I contributed
for that.
to the opening of their minds more than anything.
Listen, one of those girls is puking in her purse right now.
Oh, she was raised right.
Sarah, it's an issue, all right? And I'm afraid I'm going to have to let you go. We can't have that sort of thing happening.
Yeah, this is...
Sorry, Sarah, you can't work here anymore.
But this was...
All right, you just need to go ahead and...
Babe, how was work? Huh? Did the bee get its apple?
No, the apple got its bee. I don't have a work anymore.
What?
Eric, I was, quote unquote, let go. And here's the crazy part, they let me go because I didn't write stuff down. I mean, that is ridiculous. I don't even think that's constitutional. I mean, honestly.
But it's a thesis paper.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not an oral presentation, Sarah.
Right,
it's a thesis paper.
But I'm supposed to argue my point, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm arguing. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to write it down.
This is your will. You will not be present to say it. It has to be written down.
I understand it in theory, but I am a strong-willed woman, and so I think that my will, like my physical willing through the forces, the doors of death, they'll be able to feel my wants.
Lady, I don't even know why you're here at this tattoo parlor if you just plan on telling everybody what's gonna be on your arm. I mean, just let me put the ink on there.
Well, the best I can do, I'll meet you halfway. What if we do an abstract version of what I'm going to say to people?
So just like a picture of your mom instead of the word mom?
Well, no.
It'd be much easier if I just put the word mom.
But the way it works is that you have to sign your name on the giant check in order for you to get the $10,000 a year.
I cannot.
If you don't sign your name, we just can't give you the money.
I can just give you my Venmo because I am not signing anything.
We don't. Do you see how big this check is? It took 3 guys.
You have a beautiful baby boy. Now, we just need you to sign the birth certificate to accept, and put down that you're the parent.
I feel like you can see he's here. That's all the certification we need. He's been birthed. Woo.
Oh my God, Sarah! I follow all your TikToks. You're the best TikTok creator that TikTok's ever seen. Can I have an autograph?
Would you settle for a selfie?
Fuck off and die.
Jett.
Which is my Venmo, by the way.
Yeah. Fuck off and die.
It's a good one.
I like the idea of if someone refuses to sign the paper, then the hospital won't give them their child.
Right.
That was.
I'm sorry. Your child's just gonna have to grow up here in the nursery.
Yeah. We got another one.
Arms and legs hanging over the bassinet.
Your mother never claimed you.
Yeah.
You belong to Saint Mercy now.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh Spence.
Heyo.
How about you? What was that first thing, whatever thing means to you, that you just fell in love with and never let go of?
It's probably one of the things I'm still overly insanely in love with, and that is the guitar. I just I can't help but not play the guitar. As a matter of fact, me and fellow castmate here, Stephen C. James here, we're going over chords and learning some Ramones tunes, and I think he's letting me do it more for my benefit than for him playing.
That's how a lot of things go in this team.
But I have to I have to share it. I think I was actually, oddly enough, talking about this with Steven as well in a chat. But like I remember it was like spending the summer at my dad's house, and it was one of the first nights I've ever like stayed up all night. You remember like the first time you stay up all night, it's kind of a big deal, or at least it was for me. And I remember it was just those weird hours. I was watching MTV and I saw a Foo Fighters concert when they first started out, and it was in England, and like the sound was just, there's so much feedback, and the guitar shape was just so crazy. And just, I remember just watching that show, and it was like that line in 30 Rock, it was like, oh, I want to go to there. Like, I fell in love with the guitar like right then and there. And I think like the following week I bought no, I don't think it was the following week. And it was $125 PV guitar. It kind of looks like a Fender Stratocaster, which if you know what a Stratocaster is, it's like your prototypical guitar, but this was a knockoff because I couldn't afford it. And I love the guitar so much, I wanted to know every single part that I actually disassembled the guitar and I couldn't put it back together. Like I wanted to know how pickups work, and like it's magnets wrapped around and hold it to a pickup, and I didn't know how to rewrap the magnets, and I had you need a certain tension for the strings, and I that went all to shit. But
I like that you prove that you were a guitarist by proving that you would not be an engineer.
Did you buy it at Guitar Mart, or did you buy it like off Craigslist? Where'd you find this?
My dad bought it for me at like a world music type place, and I was so bummed that he was like, you know what, you got to save up for the next one, if you really want it. And man, I never like mowed so many lawns in my life and like cleaned so many cars. And I remember I bought an Epiphone Explorer at Trader's Pawn Shop in Reseda, California for $99. And I still have that guitar. Like I don't even play it anymore because like it's
because you took it apart and you can't.
Yeah, again, I fucking took it apart again. No, I used to be in like cover bands and I used to record with it, and it's really it's gone through a couple windows. So it's pretty neat to yeah.
What does that mean?
Like it literally has gone through windows. And there's
like a car accident?
No, like a plate glass
you
window.
You were rocking so hard that you threw it through a window?
Let's say that.
Well, okay, if you guys will actually want to know the story.
Yes, that's
You can't set this up and then just walk away from it.
So I was having a fight with my father later on, who's a raging alcoholic.
Also proving you're a guitarist.
Yes, very much so. And I grabbed his bottle. This it was so good that he couldn't get like Jack Daniels. It was Vaughn's brand whiskey. And I was like, you don't need this shit. And I threw it and it like smashed against the wall, made this huge like whiskey stain against this wall. Yeah, there you go. My dad's like, you took something I love, I'm gonna take something you love. And he took my guitar, and like those big sliding glass doors that like go to the outside. He grabbed it like an axe and just broke both the windows. So so now there's like a glass Rorschach on this Epiphone Explorer that has just shards of glass in it.
Did you particularly love that sliding glass door?
Or was it a bottle of Old Grandad?
You learned a lesson that day.
It meant a lot to me. Yeah, that sliding glass door. There's so many barbecues and pool parties I walk through. I think my dad missed the point.
Super.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah?
Just a quick one. First off,
sure.
I love Fluffy so much. Best dog ever.
Me too.
Yeah. Just so great. Quick question, though.
Sure.
Where does a dog's liver go if you're putting it back in the body?
Wait, you're asking the liver, the organ that filters the blood?
Yeah, just I'm a little confused. I wasn't sure which side, precise location. Just super theoretical question, Mom.
Hey, I mean, it goes right between the kidneys and the pancreas. Is where, I mean, like that's where it's located on the dog.
Is this
I've never
the
heard of
pancreas?
where do you put it?
Is this the pancreas?
That's a pancreas.
Okay, got it. I'm pretty sure I know where that one went. Okay,
So,
thanks.
Can I?
Yep.
Because this was a hypothetical question that had a prop.
Yes.
Can I just? I hate to bust in with a question.
No, it's fine.
I hate to respond to a question with a question.
We have we have a very open family here. We talk about everything.
We do.
And you're so giving to me, Mom. Fluffy, again, best gift ever.
I always want you to be able to come to me with anything. All right,
okay.
And you're not going to get in trouble. I
know that about you. Okay, all right,
so
go ahead.
Where did that was a pancreas? And
I assume it still is, but yes, go on.
Well, the question here is, and let me first by saying something, and then I will ask my question. I have impressed myself by being able to recognize a pancreas. It's been a long time since I took high school biology, so that is my affirmation
too. Like,
and now
I aspire to know as much as you do, Mom, about this sort of thing. Like, I want to say you impress me every day, and you make me want to be as good an adult and a parent as you will be one day. Now, please go on ahead.
Well, so that was my affirmation. My affirmation is that I've impressed myself, and my question is, what did that pancreas belong to?
Let's say a dog.
A dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that's good. Now, now I'm gonna start with an affirmation.
Great. I like these.
I am very impressed today at my ability not to jump to a worst case scenario. And my question is, which dog?
Wow. See, I suspected you were going to go in that direction. I hoped you wouldn't, but I suspected you would. Now, do I have to answer this question, or can I take the fifth?
So before you ask that question, I would like you to affirm something about yourself.
Okay. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I forgot
Thank
this.
you.
Okay. All right. I respect and am impressed by my ability to predict the direction a conversation is going to go and attempt to steer it in a direction that will benefit me and reduce blame, even if I don't always succeed at that effort.
That's fantastic. That's cool. That's great. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. What was the question again?
I don't know you were asking.
Mom, you know how we have that rule, like, we can ask any questions and you can't get mad at us for anything because you respect us?
Mm-hmm. Could you quickly say something nice about yourself?
I'm hilarious.
You are.
I'm hilarious.
You are. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
And funny question. What's the legal amount of drinks you can have before you drive a car?
Well,
because they're just wondering.
So, just sizing up your height and weight, I would say that it is 1.5 ounces of hard liquor or two beers. Now, I have a question about why you're going to ask that question, but first, I want to say that to affirm about myself that I could have been one of those people at the fair who guesses your weight. Because I was able to look at you and just guess your body weight and size and maybe how much like bread or something heavy you've eaten today to be able to tell you exactly what would bring you to a 0.06. I mean, technically, in your case, any 0.0 anything would still be DUI because you're under the age of 21.
Hey, babe, before I get out of here, just need to affirm that I'm a really great father figure and positive male role model for our son. And just overall, I'm great with the kids.
You are. You are.
I have had a secret family for 12 years.
Did you have a question?
Legit.
Which I should have affirmed myself before I said that.
Oh, jeez. Josh, was there any more to your beautiful guitar love before we continue on?
No, I think we're good.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what more you do with that. And
no. If we're being honest, I know that took a weird left turn.
That's what this show is about. We could have renamed it Weird Left Turn.
Sure, but that was probably the one thing that that was the first thing I really learned to stay consistent with and practice with every day and play. I've spent so many nights just running drills and playing Foo Fighter songs while watching like Conan O'Brien or like the 8th rerun of Sports Center. It offered me so many great experiences. I know it also sounds like improv in a way because like I got into bands and I started recording and it's another connection that you share with people. And I'm again going back to Steven here. I'm really glad that he's letting me show him how to play guitar because it means so much to me that like I have a huge smile right now. So
within the first 2 minutes, I was like, I didn't know that. That's the way that works. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely a rookie.
Oh, that's powerful.
So the guitar, love it. I will always love it.
All right. Well, on that extremely passionate, loving answer, let's move on to someone else. Let's try Michael Heiman. Michael Heiman, how about you? What's that first thing that really got you, that stuck with you for a long time?
The Dodgers.
No, I you know, as people were answering, I was thinking about this, and what has been most consistent, it has been video games.
Attaboy.
Sure.
You know, as a kid, I'm like thinking about my time, my childhood, and like I never played sports when I was really young. Like I didn't do Little League until I was like 10, which was way too late. Like I was playing with other kids that were like, they all know what they're doing, and I barely don't know what's going on still. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I love baseball. I love going to games with my dad. And then I was like, I don't know how to play this game. To put that like experience in a weird perspective, my first season of Little League, my team won the championship. I did not get a single hit. So I was a really big part of it.
But is that where you practiced your morale there? That's why you're like a super fan now, because you really learned how to sit and cheer for a whole game.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know how to do that either. I was not good at that. You're
still a non-hitting part of winning teams.
The Dodgers won the World Series last year, and you didn't get a single hit.
It's true.
Yeah.
Although I've been playing adult softball with like friends from work, and we have won games, and I do get hits now.
Yeah.
So,
but Michael, as a kid, you need that guy on the team because otherwise they run through the rotation 4 times. But with you there, they can only go 3 times because he's not going to get a hit. They needed you, so you didn't skunk other teams. I, for one, salute you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But video games, you know, like our early age, you know, Tetris, Mario, the original Nintendos, the first Game Boy, you know, they're fun. I got engaged with them, and it was something to, you know, feel good, I guess. And then you complete them, and you feel a sense of accomplishment, which, you know, I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I had much in other places in my life from an early age. But then video games grow and they advance. And like, oh, these games are impacting me on an emotional level when I play through your Final Fantasies or, you know, games like that. Plus, you make great friends. I, you know, have great deep friendships with some of my closest friends because we play games together too. Josh.
What was the first game that you completed that like everybody knows that feeling you complete a game that really means a lot to you. What was that first game?
To be honest, that first Mario on Nintendo I never actually finished.
Ooh.
But I did get in the habit when I started playing Sonic.
Yeah.
Those I did. I remember like finishing that first Sonic game and then like all of them. And the best one though was Sonic 3 because in 2 and 3 you could play it 2-player together. One person controls Tails.
Tails, yeah.
Yeah. And then they came out with Sonic and Knuckles on the Genesis, which slotted in and was its own standalone game, but you could slot Sonic 3 into it, and it was like 2 cartridges, you know, Human-centipeding into the Genesis, and you could play, and it's just an even longer game that you could play the whole thing 2-player,
Can we make sure to call this episode Human-centipeded into the Genesis?
I don't want that to be a verb that starts trending.
That is one hell of a prog rock album.
The Book of Genesis reads.
That's my favorite part of the Book of Genesis is the human centipede part.
That's it is describing this very long human centipede.
Sega had so many add-ons for the Genesis.
Oh yeah, you could have the Genesis and then the Sega CD.
Yep.
And then the 32X, which was just like, those are more attempts to expand on things that failed. The CD failed, and they're like, okay, cartridges are still the thing. The 32X. I loved, like, I had the idea, like, okay, this thing goes on top of the Genesis. You could also get a game Genie that goes into that, which stacks even higher. And then I'm going to put Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 on that. So
there
it's like this tall cartridge, even longer human centipede.
It's like failure Russian nesting dolls.
Yes.
I don't understand. Like, what do you mean you're putting games on top of games?
Well, some of it wasn't games. Some like the Game Genie was a cheat cube kind of.
Yeah, it was this device that would plug into the cartridge slot, and then the cartridge would plug into it, and it would act as an intermediary between the game cartridge and the console, and it would kind of hijack memory. And so you'd put codes into it, and it would basically rewrite code in the memory so that you would have infinite lives or superpowers or whatever. So it was a cheat device.
It's something
it goes in between the cartridge and the system.
In a lot of cases, especially later games, like when you had the game, was it Game Shark or whatever? Like you'd have one that plugged into the back of your PlayStation. You're just basically
or the memory card
unlocking
slot.
things that were present in the game that just aren't meant to be accessed by the consumer.
Yeah.
You're like test modes and stuff. Yeah.
Sex scenes.
And so Sonic and Knuckles, for instance, was a full-on Sonic game, but it was shaped kind of like that Game Genie in that you could plug previous Sonic games into it and it would modify them to add this new character Knuckles into the previous game.
Yeah.
So there's a whole backstory for why that happened, because it was actually meant to be in Sonic 3, but they couldn't release it in time. So there was just all this complexity there. But yeah, they had all these add-ons. And so yeah, like he was saying, you could add add-on to the add-on to the add-on to the add-on. Sega would just nuts with that. And the PlayStation only exists because Sony was working with Nintendo to make a CD add-on to the Super Nintendo. And it was going to be called the Nintendo PlayStation. And they had a big fight over. Sony wanted it to be a brand new system. Nintendo wanted it to be an expansion to the system. And so they finally split ways. And the PlayStation came about because of the split from Nintendo.
And then Square's split from Nintendo came right after that.
Yeah, they moved over.
These are things. These are things that the companies themselves are producing so that you can amplify your game experience. This is not like everyone got this like black market cartridge and we're all
the Game Genies
were
like
a third party.
There was a third party.
That's what I mean.
That was
you know
not
how
made
back
by the
in the
company.
1920s they made the movie Wizard of Oz, and then in the 70s they made the album Dark Side of the Moon. So same way. You plug it in at the third Lion's Roar, and then you watch it, and then something happens that's never actually been witnessed.
Yes, exactly.
And then,
all right, this makes sense to me.
In the 1980s, they invented marijuana.
Right.
And then that connects to make
to
both
everything.
It makes you want to take apart a guitar.
Anytime you can parallel video games to anything Judy Garland has done, that will help me understand what you're talking about. Okay? So that's the only...
This is the masterclass I'm teaching.
That's my touchstone. Yeah. Bring it back to Judy.
Human-centipeded Wizard of Oz.
They don't get this in depth in it, but that documentary on Netflix, High Score, is very good. And when it finished, I was like, this is begging for another season because there's just so much more.
So much more.
You could do one season just on that time period, like the big console wars.
Yeah.
Because it was one-upping each other, but then also having to one-up these like third-party hackers almost that were like building workarounds.
Super!
My dearest Sarah Bell, I write to you from the front lines of the console wars. Today was a hard day. We lost 2 men, but fortunately, we were able to find a green mushroom and got one back. It was a difficult day. I stomped on so many mushrooms, I couldn't tell when I was invincible, and when I was big, and when I was...
Joseph, what happened to the trumpet we bought you? Did you throw it? Did you throw it through the glass door again? Jesus!
Look,
Jesus
my
Christ!
brother had broken something very important to me. He broke a wooden door. So I broke his glass door.
Did you break the trumpet? Right? I haven't been able to speak because I'm speechless right now. That you would have broken the trumpet. That, you know what, she says but this is your mother got you that trumpet. I didn't want to because I knew this would happen. Look, but I wanted her to be happy. So I said, get him that trumpet.
When I tuck you in at night and I give you a kiss on the forehead and you get to go to sleep, I don't go to sleep. I go and I work the late shift at the diner down the street, okay?
You didn't know this. Your father's unemployed. All the money comes in from your mother.
He's been going
Your mother bought that trumpet.
Look,
he gets up in the morning, he goes to Uncle Kevin's. We didn't want you to know, but he hasn't worked in like 2 years, okay? He's been hanging out at Uncle Kevin's house.
I'm taking a lot of things I did not know, but I have found a workaround. Watch. All right, ready? Nothing up to sleep. Okay, and now?
No, Joseph, we know! We know! That's how I know that! That's why I'm asking you where the trumpet went, Joseph. We've been listening to you practice your hand for like a week.
I consider it a harmonica of the spirit.
It's a hand. You're playing the hand.
2 hands, technically. I don't want to split hairs.
If you don't come clean and tell us where the goddamn trumpet is, your spirit is going to be playing a spirit harmonica. You're right. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love you.
If you don't come clean, I love you too. And I just thank you for letting me fuck around all day, every day.
Okay, fine. You want to tell you? I'll tell you. Okay, so the trumpet, I threw it through a glass door. It landed on the ground, but it was filled with broken glass.
Your great grandmother's glass door?
That glass door is an heirloom.
Yeah. So
okay, it's been passed down.
I'm sorry.
Put that over on a boat.
I was going to bring that up after we solved the mystery of the missing trumpet because I walked by this morning to give your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother's glass door a hug, as I always do every morning, because it deserves as much. And I was surprised to see that it was in pieces.
Right.
Shattered.
And I'm sorry. And as I said, I'm sorry. I was going to clean it up. I was going to do my best to tape it back together or to use glue of some kind.
You cannot tape back your father's heart, Joseph. You can't do that, okay? The damage has been done.
You know, it's same thing, but about the trumpet for your mother.
Yes, thank you.
Well, so after the trumpet went through the glass door, it was laying there, and it was filled with broken glass. And that's when Went and Marcellus walked by. And he picked it up, and he began playing it, but that broken glass went into his body.
Ken, please come in. Mr. Burns, we really appreciate all the work you've done, but the idea of marrying the Civil War documentary and the console wars with your jazz documentary is not working at all. It's very, very highly manipulated. It doesn't seem natural.
So you're saying I struck out?
Legit.
I love that Ken's in the puns.
Oh. I love that you're on a first name basis with Ken Burns.
Yeah, right?
Would you say it was a flat note?
I do remember growing up where, like, because you guys are talking about these console wars, I don't fully grasp it, but I remember it being a very big thing, like, if you had a Nintendo or if you played Mario or Sonic, because where I grew up, most families, you're lucky if you could afford one. You definitely weren't having
I love that you're such a great New Yorker and you say Mario.
Mario, I noticed that too, yeah.
Oh, it hurts my heart.
Super
Mario.
It's a me, Mario.
It's a me, Mario. Oh, yeah. But that's how he says it. He's Italian, though, no? He's not.
He doesn't say Mario.
He's Japanese, technically.
Right. He says his name
the way it's you're saying he doesn't say his name properly?
Super Mario Brothers.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Mario. Maher. You know what's funny? My last name is Maher. You think I could say it, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
All right, I got it. Mario.
Now, my soul just dies a little bit every time I hear that, but I hear it a lot.
Right.
What's his brother's name? Is it Loogie?
It's Luigi. I know Luigi.
Hey, it's Luigi.
I know Luigi. I remember Luigi the most because in Mario 2, when he would jump, he'd be like, and his legs would flail, and he was the fucking worst character to play unless there was a jumping level. But he was
probably the most challenging character to play.
You couldn't control him.
So you're saying he's the one that SMB would have done?
Yeah.
Or I guess Jett, really. Jett would do.
Except the jumping level.
I deserve to do Luigi.
Yeah, no, Luigi's been my guy, until Wario. Then Wario's my guy and everything.
Allie, you want your mind blown about Super Mario 2?
I guess, yeah.
There we go.
That wasn't a Mario game to begin with.
Nope.
What do you mean?
When that game was developed and conceived, it was not going to be a Mario game.
It shouldn't have been. It was the fucking worst one. It didn't make any sense.
Oh, it was so fun.
I just played through them all recently, and I gained a lot of extra respect for that game. It's beautiful. But yeah, Heiman's right. In Japan, it was called Doki Doki Panic. It had nothing to do with Mario at all. But the actual Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan, which we eventually received here as what they call the Lost Levels, is just the most evil troll version of Super Mario Brothers you could ever play. It's like if the Mario developers were both high the entire time and just laughing maniacally at how they could screw over the players. It's evil. It's amazing, but it's terrible. And they realized we cannot release this in the United States, so they took another game and rebranded it.
There's a
for
whole
the US
history of that because like Dirty Dancing 2 is not actually a Dirty Dancing movie. And Empire Strikes Back was originally a Columbo episode. But there's this like history of this happening over and over in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael Heiman, I think you have our ad for this week. I would love to hear that about now. It seems like the right time.
You think that's the thing you want to hear?
Yes.
I think we've got a new rebel in the house. Hey,
kiss your mother with that mouth?
It's me, Michael Heiman. Fuck your ad.
I'm a punk rock ad executive.
All right, I've got the tape. Hey friends, come on down to Soup. There it is. That's right, you guessed it. It's inspired by the real thing. All of our delicious soup-like dishes spread out on giant tables for you to all enjoy. Come on down. You can try each one, or you can try none of them. That's right, they're bottomless. It's all up to you, however you want to do it. Join all the other tortured souls at Soup There It Is by sampling or not sampling or eating all of or eating none of all of our gross, delicious codswallop. You might ask yourself or wonder, it's almost too much meat, but maybe it's not. This is a little bit of a gray area. Soup There It Is! Come have some soup.
Still better than Soup Plantation.
Yeah, there we go.
Way less racist.
I really feel like a significant portion of the American population would religiously go to Soup There It Is.
Right.
Yep.
In that state.
The part that it was really hard to listen to him because all that undertoning of the slurping in the background was almost too much to take.
I feel like that's a real filter on your audience right there.
Yes.
I also like anyone calling any food restaurant anything to do with it's a real gray area. Like that's appetizing.
That's another line straight out of the Applebee's headquarters.
Yeah.
And my septuagenarian porn movie.
Wow.
Wow.
What? It's still in the writing phases. What? And that was respect. That was respect right there. You feel that long, quiet beat of respect I just got?
That was it. That was pin dropping respect.
And that was actually originally a Cocoon sequel.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you spoke up there, Stephen C. James, how about you? Let's throw the same question at you. What's that first thing that you fell for and it stuck with you for a long time?
I mean, I loved like the video game conversation, but that was like way beyond the pale of how far I got into it. Like, but I also never beat the first Super Mario Brothers. Weirdly, I think in high school I discovered I ran across the book The Tao of Pooh, and I was just like, oh, Taoism, that's my way of looking at the world. And it was just this idea of going the way of the water, like unlike what Sean Michael Boozer was saying, instead of trying to find like that hard path, just taking a look and just sort of relaxing into things and just trying to go like literally with the flow, like trying to be that solid state, that uncarved block, and just having that state of being and just stillness was something that really like stuck with me and has gotten me through like some real hard ass times. And then like later on in life, like marrying that to the idea of the 4 agreements too has been like one of those overarching like places of where I can find stillness in the times when I'm just like, everything is fucked. Yeah.
That sounds like a much better way to go at things. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, I would never judge, and nor would I tell you that it's a way to change a change you should make, because I know then you'd be like, no, I'm not making that change.
Yeah.
So, dude, you do not need to read that book. Don't read that book, man. I bet you can't read that book, you little bitch. Yeah.
The 4 agreements, though, that is really centering. Like, that's really good. Like, because, dude, especially like someone that likes to talk and like to make it, it's so nice to realize you don't have to. You can let that go.
Yeah. I learned about that in an improv class, and it was something where Compton and I have become friends with the woman, Amy Seeley. She came in, we'd done like a million like jams with her, but I had never had her as a teacher. And she taught one class that I was in. She subbed because somebody like had food poisoning. She talked to us about that book and literally changed my life. Like, I was like, oh, okay, great. This is now like another thing to a la a game genie to plug into like the Taoism that I was already using to further enhance it. Yeah.
Wait, you plugged Allah into this philosophy? What? I'm confused. I was not listening.
Let's head up Chris Compton at this point. Chris Compton. Let's
This feels very Price is Right tonight. Come on down.
It just kind of went that way, yeah. Well, especially when you have all 8 people at once, it starts creating this entirely different chain dynamic of it.
For me, it's probably redundant in this group of people in this medium, but it was comedy, and it was like really specifically comedy as a way to say things that you want to say that you would not be able to say otherwise. So like I grew up in the deep South, and my parents were the South Carolina Democratic Party. And so I spent like most of my life was in rooms surrounded by people with whom I disagreed with on almost everything, which was good. Like great training. Don't do it to your kids. But what I realized was if I was funny while I said things, then people would laugh, and it was like an idea would like sneak through their mouth as it opened. And so like that was really, and I was a like kid whose brain was all over the place, who like was like filled with information, and all this was going nowhere. Until I learned like, oh, I can take all of these bad habits about myself and point them in this one direction. Oh, is your brain an anxiety machine that produces worst case scenarios at the top of that? Well, guess what? That's 90% of comedy. Yes, you're heightening. And so, but it was great. And then like, as I got older, I realized that this was a way to get away with anything. Because guess what? Stephen will understand this. Teachers are fucking bored. They've seen this all so many times. If you're the one kid who's actually entertaining, sure, go do that. Go do that thing. They used to do like announcements. My school was small enough that they would get the whole high school together, and people could give announcement. Like the Key Club is meeting today. And so I just started like making fake announcements, and would just raise my hand. I can't remember anything now. They were hilarious. But they would just get longer and longer and weirder. At one point I told there's a joke called the clown joke, which I will not tell because it's 400. But the whole point of it is it just goes on forever and then doesn't have a punchline. So I did this all through high school. And then after I graduated, this other kid decided to take up the banner. And was shut down immediately. But it taught me a valuable lesson. If you entertain authority figures, you can sneak away from consequences.
It's incredibly powerful. The magician Brian Brushwood who does he did Scam School, and he's really prevalent on the internet. I saw him speak in person once, and he talked about how, in his experience, without fail, if you can make a police officer laugh, you don't get the ticket.
I actually once that kept me from getting my car taken away. So I was bored, like this, like ADD, like this, as you talked about, like I have to make things challenging for myself. I think my version of that is like, there's got to be some way I can make this boring thing entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at the DMV, got like my driver's license picture taken. This back in South Carolina, and so I just did. I'm going to do something that is completely invisible in this podcast. But imagine someone just smiling by just stretching their face back. So this was my driver's license picture was. And it was like, I've entertained myself for 4 seconds during this thing. So cut to, I moved to Los Angeles. I've been here for several years. I've never gotten my license changed over. You're supposed to do that like within the first like month you're here.
Yep.
I had been in the hospital and just got out of the hospital. I was just sneaking over to grab my car. Didn't have insurance. Didn't have like a valid license because I'd been in the hospital. And so I'm like, I'm just going to drive it for my friend's like work parking lot where I had left it for the past couple months. And I'm just going to drive through Culver City and get on. Boop, boop. And the police officer pulls me over and is like, your tags are expired. Can I see your license? Insurance registration. I'm like, well, it's not registered, and I don't have insurance. Can I see your license? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not have a California license. I've lived here for several years. I should have realized I'm incriminating myself right now, but I'm gonna keep talking. And he's like, I'm gonna have to like get you out of your car, and we're gonna have to tow it and impound it. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get home. Like, this is the law. Like, I mean, you are a fucking trifecta. Like, what can I do? Like, just give me your license. What do you actually have a license? I'm like, I do. It's valid because in South Carolina, your license is valid for 15 years. So here you go. And I hand him the license, and he looks at it and bursts out laughing. He's like, just go home, get it fixed, get it fixed.
Oh man, that is a lesson.
Yeah, so that was everything my parents told me. Totally wrong. This is how you get through life.
Oh my god, Ali Maher, how do you get through life? What was the thing that just got you going early? It's the original question. I'm just wording it off of Chris Compton, so it sounds like a segue.
It felt like a pivot there for a second.
Nope. I'm sorry I misled you, and see how beautifully this attempt at a clever segue worked out for me.
You made it challenging.
I mean, for the honest first one would be performing, and especially at the time it was tap dancing. I was a pretty fantastic tap dancer, and so that was the start of it. And as you can probably guess, I was a pretty loud, loquacious child and would sing anywhere. So the first time I got on a real stage with a real audience, I was at a dude ranch called Rocking Horse Ranch, and my parents would take us there, and it was like an all-inclusive, you eat in the mess hall with all the other families, and you get one horse trail a day, but if you're an early bird, maybe you can catch that 5 a.m. trail because no one's going to that. And so at night, they would have sorts of arts and crafts for the kids or a movie. This is the first time I saw City Slickers, and I cried because he put his hand up the cow's vagina. And then this one night, there was a band playing, and my mom and dad took us, and we were supposed to go to bed at 8 o'clock or whatever. But I went to the bathroom. I was seven. And so I went to the bathroom, and I'm in the bathroom. And I'm on the toilet just singing my little heart out, top of my lungs, singing. Wherever I went, I was always singing or dancing. And the person next to me raps on the stall, and she's like, hey, there's no toilet paper. Can you pass me some toilet paper under the stall? And I'm like, sure thing, Noah. Just passing it under, singing my heart out. And I come out of the bathroom to wash my hands. And it's the lead singer. It's a woman. And she's like, you have the best little voice, blah, blah. And she's chatting me up, and she's like, do you want to come on stage? And I was like, yeah, I do. Hold on. I have to ask my mom and dad. And I go running out of the bathroom. I'm sure I didn't wash my hands. I run to my parents, And my mom and dad were like, yeah, sure, she can fucking go on stage with you. And they were like a cover band. They were playing all songs I knew. It was like,
nice.
family style stuff. So they let me come up and I sang Wind Beneath My Wings for my mother, which like brought the house down, just tears. Like, this one's dedicated to my mom. Everyone's like, oh, like just grabbed them. And did a good job. And they were like, do you want to stay and play with us? They gave me a tambourine. I begged my parents. My mom took the other 3 kids upstairs and my dad stayed. I'm sure now in hindsight, my dad was probably like, yeah, please stay. I'd love to stay at the bar. I stay at the bar by myself till 11. Like, in my head, he was doing me a favor. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm realizing what was much.
You're doing him on, yeah.
Yeah. And so I stayed and I stayed till the end. I played the whole set with them. And then I was like, thank you so much, and giving hugs. And my dad comes up, and my father was a professional sound man for a rock and roll band for a long time. And he still does sound. And he used to do all the community theater productions I did. He was the sound guy. So he came up at the end and he was like, no, you're not going to bed. If you want to do this for a living, you're going to load out. You're not just going to see the glory.
Nice.
I'm not going to let her just perform on stage and go to bed. Like, if she wants to be a singer or an actor or whatever, she's going to have to see all of it. And so I spent like an hour helping them load out and like learning how to like rap chords and just whatever a 7-year-old could do at that time, carrying whatever I could, holding a door, just like little things. But he made me stay awake and close the whole thing out. And that really stuck with me. He was always really big on being like, whatever job you're doing, or if you're whatever, for me, it was whatever production you're in, like, it's not just about being the star. Like, you have to know everything that the ensemble is doing. You should know all of the tech guys, whoever's dressing you in between, if a rushed costume change, you should know their names and thank them personally. So he was really big on that. And I think that concept stuck with me.
I want to give your dad like a Father's Day high five. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why you insist on showing up with crew for all your call times now? You're like, no, I will be there at 4 a.m. with the rest of you.
That's, to be fair, I did load out last week. Michael Heiman and I hung out after, and I stayed. So that was my version of that. But yeah, it was probably performing. I was performing everywhere all the time, and it stayed with me my whole life. And even teaching, like, that's what teaching preschool is. You're on all the time, So it was performing.
It was a tough crowd.
The other one would have been poker, but that happened later in life. That was my version of a video game. Like, what can I do for 12 hours at a time? Poker.
And potentially make some money.
Yeah.
Just like video games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was a community, right? Like, if you're really, really into anything, you find your people who are also really, really into something, and then you all stick together and you keep doing it, Yeah, exactly. Like this.
That's it.
Right.
Honestly, that's the secret of happy adulthood, is that it doesn't matter what the thing is.
Yeah.
Just find a bunch of people who want to really focus on something, and that's a good group of people to be in.
And I think that's where a lot of like communities spring up around fandoms of like dumb things, like
David Koresh. Is that what we're talking about here, or no?
David Koresh fandom?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Not as popular as he once was.
Right? Yeah.
No,
a real spike and dip with that guy.
Yeah.
His Google Trends are like a thing to see.
But yeah, I think anything that gets people to connect around one thing, and then that thing oftentimes can kind of fade away into the background because it was the connecting glue. But then you find your tribe in there, and then it's just about the people, and the rest of it's an excuse, whether it's the TV show or whatever it is. Hey, I think you're up next and last, Chris Sanders, because that's just how the dice rolled. But what's your thing? What was that first thing that really just made you feel in love with something and you couldn't let it go?
Well, it's kind of boring because it can be both, just performing or comedy, and more along the lines of like what Compton was talking about is when you realize you have a power, like you were the one that caused that laughter. And then from that, piecing together that moment and when I was I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 or something, when I pieced it all together of like, this person is laughing. What just happened? I said something. What did I say? And it's like deconstructing a joke. and you didn't, I think what makes it so significant for the performer, because just about that could happen for just about anybody, but I think it's only real comedians or musicians or artists are the ones that take note of it. I think a lot of people have that moment where they like realize they said something that made someone laugh, but that's as far as the thought process goes. And for me, it was the capsule on the pill disintegrating and the medicine like surging through my veins. And it's all I wanted after that was to just pursue that high of, now I know I can make it happen, and just trying to make it happen again. But because I had like, from then on, I was just, that's all I wanted to do was just play characters, just act, just be different people. But then since I did do that all through middle school, like late middle school, and then all through high school, and the one semester of college I did before I joined the Army. But that joining the Army is what like just put a complete just stop on that process. So I then had this, not that I couldn't be creative or have those thoughts in the Army, but I couldn't perform them. I did find ways to like still use comedy and still like explore that tool, and would often make my soldiers laugh or often my superiors laugh. But I was only able to do that once I got to a point where I could back myself up by just being really good at my job.
Yeah.
Before I was like fit enough and experienced enough to just always be really good at my job, no matter the situation, I couldn't open my mouth because I couldn't back it up. But then once I got out, it was like, it all came back, like the hunger of that's all I want to do. But all sprinkled throughout that too, every point in my life have been video games. That I was never really into sports either. I played chess. I was on the chess team and the golf team in high school, and then theater. So yeah, nothing like
I feel like you could have combined those sports in some way.
I said it's boring because it's answers that have already been given. So there's nothing really new to add.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of that drawing off of it, especially as people are hearing some of these ideas. It's digging into them, because I had all sorts of thoughts in my head of those early passions, but you guys kind of pulled out that exact thing for me, which I think shoot night, live audience night of a sitcom was the most incredibly powerful experience I ever had when I was acting professionally. And most of that was, when I was a kid and a teenager, but the whole sitcom process was always amazing to me. And we've kind of moved away from it a lot, but the classic multi-camera sitcom, there's an art to it that's incredible, because you go from the early stages. And for me, starting out at the audition level, the audition process, you get the sides sent to you. So, a few pages of the script faxed to you back in those days. You uncurl the fax from your heat sensitive fax paper machine that you can afford at home, because you can't really afford the fancy one that prints with ink on regular paper. And, you memorize the heck out of that. You go in there, you read for the casting director's assistant, and then you get a call back for the casting director, and then you get a call back for the producers. And that's the first stage where things change, because suddenly you're reading for a group of people, and it's a group of people who really both matter and personally know and identify with the characters, because some of them are writers. They're all, this is personal to them. So then suddenly you have a group reacting to what you're doing, and you're getting laughter that you didn't necessarily get from the casting director. The casting directors are oftentimes blank slates. Some of them are responsive, but usually like you don't know what you're getting until you get the phone call from your agent that you got a call back. And it's like, oh, I guess they liked me. But then you get the producers, and the producers care at a level where they respond really heavily. And so that's your first immediate feedback to what you did. That's like, oh, people are laughing at this. And it ups you a little bit. And then you get the part, and you get to the table reading. And the table read process is amazing because the entire cast sitting around a table, scripts open in front of them, just reading the script in the state it's in while the writers and producers are all around them listening and taking notes, and everybody's laughing. The cast is laughing, the producers are laughing, everything. And that's special right there. It's like this whole new level of, you get some degree of a performance. You get a sense out of yourself of what it's going to feel like. You get a sense from everybody else. You're actually acting off of other people. That's amazing. And then from there, sometimes they'll do rehearsals that first day, but usually you go home. And then the second day you come back, there's a new script. They've heavily modified it based off the notes from that. And so now you're learning new stuff and you're rehearsing on the actual stages, half-assed, but it's there. And each day over the 5-day process, the script is getting rebuilt and reconstituted and tweaked and edited. Sometimes it changes 100% by the final day. I had one where literally it was unrecognizable from day one. Most of the time, though, it's just notable but heavy changes. And then that final day, you've got the dress rehearsal. And so that's, you're running through it exactly the way it's going to be with the actual clothes and everything. And then you get to shoot night. And it should be the same thing, except the audience is there. And the audience changes everything. And it's the most incredible, magical experience because you're on the stage performing the same lines with the same people and the same props that you have been for several days now. But they're laughing at the things you say, and your entire performance changes as a result. And I felt myself doing things I had never done before, saying things, punching things, reacting to things, and putting on a performance unlike any I'd ever had because I had that instant feedback of, is this working? Mm-hmm. And sometimes the things that worked were things that had never worked before. You never knew that line was funny. It wasn't funny to you. It wasn't funny to the producers. The audience loved it, and it changes the entire meaning of it because somebody else saw something no one else did. And so that entire sitcom process,
I would like to go to there.
Yeah.
Also, I think this is where because I know a few of us, like probably the majority of us, have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. I think on this
at
podcast.
This point, yeah. I think the number's increasing by the episode.
I never officially was, but I was just given Prozac for really no reason when I was 13.
There you go.
Yeah. If not clinically, we've diagnosed each other, I think, through this year. But I think that's one of the areas where, we've talked about, Jett and I have talked about, like, it can also be a superpower.
Yeah.
And I think especially for a small child in this environment where having the ability to focus on your peripheral as strongly as you focus on what you're doing is a real superpower for a child in this scene. And like the fact that you liked that everything was changing the next day. I had to learn a completely new script. Like that is a very ADHD. Like a lot of kids would be like, this isn't the same as it was yesterday. And the idea of it being like, oh, it's a whole new challenge. I have to do everything all over again. Cool, let's go. That's a very ADHD superpower of like wanting the challenge, wanting the change, responding to the audience without breaking the fourth wall, I think is a very ADHD quality because
oh my God, yeah.
You're still doing what you're doing, but you're paying attention to 400 things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that just, you talking about it with that level of passion was like, oh yeah. I can see baby, I can totally see baby Jett like just fucking thriving,
Was this the most passionate we've ever heard Jett? Because notice how, because every other time we're always fucking with him as soon as he starts talking, and all of us were just like E.F. Hutton, like fucking listening to every single, like, that was magical, Jett.
Yeah. I could see it.
It worked.
And also you were like looking up and off, like you were having
he
like
really was. Yes,
like
I was going to just say that. Yeah, he was like, he had a 1,000-yard stare and he was reliving it, and it was so dreamy and beautiful. Like I felt the same as Sanders. I'm like, take me there with you.
Yeah,
I want to live there.
Yeah,
yeah. What I could really pick up is that magic of like seeing something that is just on paper, and at the end of the week, you're in a giant room, and these things that somebody just typed on a piece of paper are suddenly props, and like they've turned into real things, which is like a very kid idea that you could write something down on a piece of paper and then like.
But that's magic, right?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, that is magic.
That actually, a billion years ago, I was a writer on a Comedy Central late night talk show, and the memory, the best memory of that whole process for me was like on the last episode, we had like pinned this thing like, oh, we'll have like a big like musical number like in the intro, and it just like sat on a card on a corkboard that just said musical number. And then we get to the like we're like shooting, and it's me and this one other writer, and like, okay, we have to sit down and we have to write this. And so we wrote it. It was like a gospel song. I wrote it as a gospel song, and then like we did that like on Thursday, and on Friday morning they like had brought in a gospel choir, and then on Friday afternoon there's a fucking amazing gospel choir of like 15 people in front of this audience doing this thing. There was like him and I like just trying to wake up like over shitty coffee and donuts, like just cramming things together, and just like the like that moment became this moment was like the true magic of like the insane magic of the entertainment industry.
And now here we are. An hour ago, this was a description on a calendar that said record super legit podcast. And an hour later, we have done all of this, guys.
Just as magical as the experience Compton just told us about.
Yeah.
Absolutely equal. All right. That's it, guys. I want to thank you all, truly all, for joining us this week. I would like to thank our incredibly talented musician, Matt Walker, for his intro and outro music from every single episode. You can find his website in the show notes. Please, if you haven't already subscribed to us on your podcasting service of choice, subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Please tell your friends about this podcast. We want more and more of you listening to this every single episode. It just makes us happy. It makes the world happy. Spread that joy. Maybe this will be someone else's first love that they'll talk about years and years from now. That would just fill my heart with joy. Fill every member of this team's hearts with joy. Spread the love.
Hey, Jett, I should start recording now, yeah?
I think this is the time to start recording.
And I feel the time
I don't believe anything's on. Oh, my time. I kicked the door on its hinges just so I could move on. Oh, oh, oh,
and I feel the times which go.
It's funny with you guys saying how I was looking up and up and to the right. My camera's here, and you guys are up and to the right.
Oh, I thought you were like having a moment.
I was making eye contact with all of you.
No.